For the year 2024, fiscal 24, $350 million, $11,116.54 was spent on what? Short-term employment. That is over $350 million. To whom did these short-term contracts go to? And that is why I must give credit to the PSA. Give credit to the PSA. And others who helped to craft the workers' agenda, that this contracting of persons is another kind of slavery. You can't get a mortgage, you can't get a loan to buy a car because you're on short-term contract. Well, it's not even a credit card, I'm being told. For the year 20, companies were paid over $50 million, and I just listed the properties for you, rented by government, no cabinet approval, and no current leases. It was a free-for-all. It was a feeding frenzy of epic proportions at the expense of taxpayers of our country. Facilitated by whom? The PNM government of Trinidad and Tobago. I mentioned estate trace twice because this was one of the higher rentals without leases, without cabinet approval. And I'm now being advised that then Minister Faris Alwari recused himself from the cabinet on March 2nd, 2017 for estate trace baratang. So Alexandra 1, Alexandra 3, estate trace, and we will find these, we'll share it with you because I'm giving you what is given here. Yeah. So everybody else in the country, 0%, 4%, but you're sitting down in the 1% too, and you're sitting in the cabinet, walking through in and out and helping your friends and your finances and your family. It is disgusting and disgraceful. Disgusting and disgraceful. That is why on the 28th of April, that is why on 28th of April, you got the licking that you deserve. And if you cannot see why this is relevant, that is why you are now sitting on that side, and we are on this side. You cannot come and tell me it is irrelevant to talk about how much money was spent in a context where we are now at an all-time high with crime. Mr. Speaker, when the UNC is in government, the crime always goes down. When the PNM is in government, the crime always goes up. Remember that. Order, and so our duty is to bring the people. This can't go on for the whole evening. You had your turn for 10 years and you failed. The Prime Minister ran to President, rubbed the meritless. That has to be the whole aim is to frustrate. Whether you jump up 10 times, 15 times, or 30 times, I will not become frustrated because the whole country became frustrated with you and ran you out of office.
Being affected due to adverse weather conditions, can the Minister advise what relief efforts are being put in place for the citizens whose water supply has been disrupted as a result?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to thank my colleague, the member for Ruka Lopino, for the question. But, Mr. Speaker, it is almost disgraceful, if not shameless, for the former Minister of Public Utilities to file this question, knowing that they did nothing to fix the problem in the last 10 years. Having said that, Mr. Speaker, I want to tell the honourable member what the member for Siparia under her leadership, because they told us leave Siparia right here.
Madam Speaker, as I support her, leave her right there. Don't move her.
And we are leaving Siparia right here.
For the first time as Minister of Finance to pilot this significant work. And it is with immense pride that as the Member of Parliament for Faizabad on the eve of Labour Day, that I stand here as a representative of the UNC government, led by the distinguished member for Siparia, to bury the reviled Revenue Authority. Mr. Speaker, on the 28th of April 2025, the people of Trinidad and Tobago exercised their democratic right and made a decisive choice. They rejected the cronyism, nepotism, plutocracy, and the neglect that had plagued this nation for the last 9 years, 7 months, and 2 weeks, and instead placed their confidence in a new government, one grounded in fairness, meritocracy, and accountability. Today, Mr. Speaker, in this Parliament, we continue the fulfillment of our social contract with the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Mr. Speaker, just a few seconds ago, we debated and passed the Children's Life Fund Amendment Bill 2025, a promise made by the Honourable Prime Minister, a promise kept by her government. And now, Mr. Speaker, we turn to another promise made by our Prime Minister, the repeal of the Trinidad and Tobago Revenue Authority, the TTRA, an institution which the previous government, the previous administration, sought to impose upon the country.
Good evening, TNT family. Welcome back to Yellow is the Code on UNC USA. I have with me here Mr. Suman Singh and Dr. Parum Miraj. Welcome, gentlemen, back to UNC USA, and thank you for taking the time to join me here again. Deeply appreciate you taking the time.
Well, thank you, Gary. Thank you very much. Welcome to all our listeners on the various social media platforms. We are glad to have you. And hello, Dr. Parum.
Hello, good night. Sitaram, Kahola.
Good night, my friend. Good night. Well, I don't know if you have been listening to what's been going on in the second sitting, but I took in a fair amount of it yesterday and also from the newspaper today just to confirm. And these, what has come into light has been very, very startling as far as the PNM goes, how the country was mismanaged over the past 10 years. Just one aspect of it is the rental of, government offices, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Prime Minister said in a speech after the amendments to the Children Life Fund and the question of the Revenue Authority and so on, she went to the great depth to illustrate how much monies and recusals were taken, contracts, not signed contracts, no end date, no beginning date, what quantities of money was paid was basically there were no contract, so to speak. So there was nothing to formalize and say, well, this is a valid contract. But on top of that, she said the amount of money is paid for all these leases, for contracts, where they had no landlord, names were given, no termination dates, no beginning dates, just monies that were paid. And it amounted to pretty close to $500 million. $500 million. But what was more scary there was an amount of $208 million. On top of that, 500 million or the half billion, there was an amount of $200 billion they couldn't account for. That was paid. So this perhaps is one of the biggest bubble being perpetrated on the people of TNT. And my question always is the same thing. Where was the press? Where was the media over the past 10 years? Where were the chamber? Where were the industry and commerce people? Where were the technocrats at UV? Where were the various religious organizations? Where were the churches and so on? Where were all these people? The Law Association, as you know, every contract is a legal contract. So the Law Association should have been very vocal on something like this, where there was the tenant was not known, the owners were not known, just monies and monies and more monies was paid. And we, on top of that, as I said, at 208 million, we don't know where that went to. So all in all, you're looking at a massive scandal. And, you know, the current PNM, the new PNM, so to speak, the new opposition, their leader, and all of them were sitting there all the time, and they were all dumb. Not a word from them. Not a word from them. So no wonder at the end of the debates yesterday, they could not respond. None of them was able to respond to what was said by the Honorable PM. So I always share your opinion, Parum, Doc, that a lot of them have to start making a jail.
Well, they would not say the truth or never say the truth about the contracts, false contracts, right? Most of them, most of what is went on as well, everything, all contracts is on paperwork, right?
Yes.
But the majority of them is not executed physically. So administratively, all is there. But these people have to talk at the end of the day or investigation. A very good intelligence work has to be done.
Correct.
And executed in the way. Now, they say, no, we cannot put a man in jail because of the law. And this. If the law is defending a criminal, that law is no good. And who make that law as well is no good. You understand? So there was laws in Venezuela that you could say defend a criminal. And that law we had was to change it immediately and take immediate effect on that. If there is evidence of robbery or a crime, let's say a crime, you have to wait until investigations and those things like that, having the evidence in front of you. No, it has to be executed right away, right? Right away. And as I always say, the jail system has to be good. All these members, these PNM members, where we have physical evidence, right? None of them should be able to go out of the country. Their passport have to be seized and hold within house arrest immediately because the evidence is there and it is clear.
So let them prove now that they did not commit that.
Let them now prove, give them a chance now to prove. But me and my part, I wouldn't give them no chance, you know. I wouldn't give them no chance.
Give them a chance. It's a free country, democratic country. Let them. Okay.
Free country or no, you have no chance when you are a thief.
But let's hear both sides. So you have to hear why they did it. So they will.
But Mr. Singh, how can a thief say, "Oh, I thief because I am hungry"?
No.
Okay. You in your position as minister, you have no right to mislead funds.
Public
That is
funds.
why you there. You say sometime, Mr. Singh, one of our program, if a minister make a mistake, I said to you, remember, a minister cannot make a mistake. You remember that, no?
Yep.
These fellas have to know what they are doing with the country money, the people's money, right? Now they want to take charge tax and take your bed and sell your house and think to pay tax. And when they have the taxpayers' money, the citizens' money, they're going to thief it, mislead the funds. So this is when you say what you say that is bold-facedness, bold-faced thieves.
Yes.
That is what's going on. So the law have to press on them. We cannot put pretty words to justify nasty things, right? We cannot do that. And ever since PNM government is there, they always have their own people and spitefulness upon those who are not agree with their political greed, right? If you look at some of these ministers, right? Most of them have properties that not even your within the amount of properties they have on other people's name, but they are the beneficiaries.
Yes.
Not even inheritance. You have that. No salary can have a big income like that. A big investment, unless you are a businessman. Now, if you are a businessman and you go to politics, what are you going to do? You're going to do business. You are not going to do politics.
Correct.
Right. So this is what went on with them. They, instead of being good politics, they want to be in businessman. But what? White neck bandit, you call it. Right? White neck bandit. They hold you up without a gun. They hold up the country without a gun. Right? So billions of dollars. I remember the Minister of Health was acting Prime Minister there. All the when he said anybody has anything to say about the money that is missing, and all the how you call these people, reporters, was silent. I am sure if one of them talk, they'll get in jail. That, my friend, is dictatorship. And they say Venezuela have dictator? No. That is dictator, right? So Rowley actually look like the PNM in whole is or was a dictator dressed up and very nice, right? With fancy words and lies to the country. All of them have money outside the bank. We have a way here, we can do, Russia have a way that they can make a man speak without hitting him or anything. They just talk to him and he will confess everything. That program have to be in Trinidad. And they will say, about all the money that they took and everything. Put the right people who do not care about money, and investigate these fellas. Not call Scotland Yard and all them things like that. They will get corrupted. They will get corrupted. Look at what happened to this the refinery. Was there justification to close down that refinery? Was there justification to lease our pitch lake to the Chinese? That was not justification, right? You put a gold mine, which is a producing gold mine that you show you have gold there to the Chinese. I have nothing against the Chinese. They are brilliant people, brilliant, excellent people, modernized people, but you cannot put your gold mine neglecting the Trinidad and Tobago people of that natural resource.
Correct.
Stuart Young Daddy was prepping Trinidad for his son to become prime minister. So these deals with the Chinese was given the assurance that he could become prime minister because they feel they had it in the bag until they got the reality check. But there's a God, and when God, let me tell you something, all the campaigning we do, if God didn't convince the hearts, we would never be where we are today. So God acted, and you're seeing all evidence of God acted on these evil, wicked people that suppressed our country and people, so harshly, you know, and they had the audacity to come in parliament now and chastise this government for this and that, and you're seeing the former minister of public utilities questioning Barry about water delivery. That wicked son of a bitch suffered people. His wicked government suffered people for months.
Especially people in South, especially geographic discrimination. It was on.
And you know what I noticed? Gatsby Dolly come to the parliament to talk about the
bullying,
child fund, right?
Children's fund, yeah.
Yeah, the children fund, yeah. And she going to bring up about child marriage. This child marriage law that the PNM tried to bring in the parliament was more of a racist action to slam on Indian people for marrying their children young. But hey, Dolly, I want to ask you, what about children making babies young and still in their mother house, right? And without marriage. Talk about that, Dolly.
Well, that is a PNM problem, according to she.
Talk about all the people who making children for 5 different people, and they can't maintain them, and they're running astray and committing crime in the street. You ain't talking nothing about that. But this was a racist agenda to make mockery of Indian people in particular. Yes, we want to protect children, right? Obviously, we want to protect children. But you said the Children's Authority went to hell under the PNM, okay? The children were not safe inside the Children Authority. They were in danger. We have people in danger that fled the Children Authority protection. All right? So we have a lot of things to fix in Trinidad. But let me tell you something. After seeing the wonderful job and delivery of our people in the first session of the parliament there, I feel like I had nothing to say. I feel like job done. You know?
But
they did it. They did an excellent job.
But Gary, you haven't seen nothing yet. Wait till the 16 comes.
With the review. But listen, look at the amount of buildings without lease and money was spent that the Prime Minister unleashed in the Parliament, and more coming in. And you know the good thing about it, she clarified that law about the Auditor General can investigate the central bank, because you see the law was there, but they were twisting the interpretation of the law. But she clarified that, and then we have a brilliant lawyer who is the Speaker of the House now, and you can't fool he, right? Our experienced, brilliant lawyer as Speaker of the House, Mr. Singh. Right?
Yes, yeah,
okay. So they couldn't teach here about the interpretation of the law because he was teaching them in the Parliament. He was breaking it down to them. So that was an excellent delivery.
Yes, and you know, I'm not only looking forward, but I want them to clean up this mess. And Gary, you know, as I said before, all these permanent secretaries who were approving all these lease agreements, and I say it was lease agreement, but actually they were non-lease agreements. They didn't have the lessee name, the lessor name, meaning that who were the tenants and who were the landlords. No names were there, and money was paid. And on top of that, the Prime Minister say there's another 208 million were paid out, but nothing, no evidence of who it was paid for.
Right.
You know?
Well, here's what I'll ask you. I like the justice, you know, right? When you don't have a grass tail, you can get close to the fire, right? So let's say now she find out, our Prime Minister find out who's stealing and where the money goes and thing, and she does not do nothing. That is incompetence, right? And she have to move swiftly and with a lot of precision, right? On the lies, what is going on, because every lie have a short term in. Look, for example, this minister that say he have a tree branch that came from Muhammad directly. You know who that? Who
Yes, yes.
who
He's the
was he
prophet.
name?
The prophet Al-Wari.
That is man. That is something lie. Have you been to the Middle East? Have you been to this place to Mecca? Have you been? No. That is look at you insanity of a man who believes and he feels that he's the truth and it's a big lie. If you have gone to the Middle East and see how these people live, what they eat, what they drink, and how they work, you would never say some stupidness like that and build a map, a tree map that you come from Muhammad. God bless his name. God bless his Muhammad name, right?
Yes, of
But you
course.
cannot put that lie. And so if he lied to himself that he is descendant of our Prophet Muhammad,
Seventh.
what he will do to the country? That is a man had to be locked up. So that is how this PNM government mockery of the Muslim religion. That is mockery. Over there, they will kill him for that. You understand? So he have that type of disorientation psychologically, and you put him as a minister. So all of them is the same thing, brother. All of them is the same thing. I agree, and we have to put them. We cannot wait for a law to approve arresting these people and putting them in jail. Give the people of Trinidad and Tobago what belongs to them.
And
Oil
also,
belongs to them, water belongs to them, electricity belongs to them, food rights belongs to them, right? Food rights. You can a country so small, and you have so many big problems because of a group of bad-minded, egoist people, which is the PNM people.
Man, for the level of water, of money that flow through our country, none of our people should be suffering for water and
No,
electricity and public and
none,
housing and things like that.
none.
But they keep it
Because
down.
look,
And yet
the
some people are
income.
so stupid voting and supporting this because of race and party.
No, you know what is? I wouldn't say that really, Mr. Gary, because some of them look at I wouldn't call them stupid. No, I would call them a little bit unintelligent. But
Or
yet, for
highly
these
intoxicated.
people, but
PNM
these
party
people were fooled.
parties
These
you.
people were fooled as well. Remember, the amount of Trinidadian was fooled to vote for these people.
People who are a little bit illiterate and not highly educated. What about the educated people? What about the educated people who knows better and still support this nonsense?
and they were staying quiet. Or staying quiet.
That is something that most of the Trinidadians was fooled by the PNM government. They were lied to for the past years, right? Because the income that Trinidad and Tobago have by the oil industry only is enough or is one drop of the expense of the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago of electricity and water. That is one drop. The oil income that is in the country, one drop of that income covers all electricity, garbage, health. Let's say 2 drop. Health. What the income have come in the country for the past 10 years, right? Nobody should be paying for health in Trinidad.
Again,
Nobody. We're supposed to have the most advanced technology in health system.
yes, thoroughly agreed, guys. This is a photo of the Caribbean, Brazil, the trade negotiations.
Yeah, that's why we was invited. Our foreign mission representative went there.
Nice.
Você fala português?
Are you Portuguese, Parum?
Me aprendi a falar português uma gata portuguesa.
Yeah. Well, all we said so far, they are quite true based on what we've been hearing and reading and seeing on the television. But nobody is talking about the people who give the approval for these things to happen.
Because they are accomplice as well. They are
They
part
are
of the
the,
teams.
they are the real culprits, because if you say, hey, Mr. Singh, rent is due $200,000, shouldn't I say, well, who is it going for? Shouldn't I say,
You've
well,
been
who's that
mistaken by the number. It's $2 million. What
Yes.
you forget the zeros. $2 million are rent.
No,
A building has
man.
been renting in Port of Spain for $2 million.
Yeah, right. Okay, 2 million. But should I say, is it going to Parum or Gary? Shouldn't I see the name? Huh? At
We
least I
call
should.
that testaferro. Here in Venezuela, we say testaferro. That's somebody who collects money for you. They have a percentage and they stay quiet.
Right. Good.
I don't know how you call it in English.
But that is the person who's collecting. But what he's supposed to be authorizing that collection. That is the person who should be jailed from big time.
Both of them. Who collect and who give. Both of them.
Who approving the people's money is paying for this, and you cannot tell me where is that going to, who is that going to. So that person is more culpable than anybody else. And that person, again, is the head of the government accounting unit for that ministry. So if the head of that ministry accounting unit is doing all this bubble, right, and they're still there after 6 weeks in government, who is doing what? Who said that this thing is not continuing further down the road? You know? So we have a lot of rooms in prison to be made or to house these people. Because we don't have
Well, you
enough.
see what is going on as well. The first thing first, when you have a specific crime investigation, no, you have to look up for all the evidence first. Now, if there is let's say, let's put it like this, a gunfight, you shoot, right? And you remain, you after the shooting, you remain stand up, you win, right?
Mhm.
And then after you ask question, now this is not a gunfight where we stand up and we shoot at each other. No, this is we have to make the investigation. Went on, what not went on. But making the investigation, you're giving these people time to run away. That's the other thing.
So you seize
You
their
understand?
passport right away.
Yeah. Because a law will take approval by the parliament, take some time to be approved, right? And most of the parliament members are not honest people,
No.
right? Are not honest people. They are people who want to be, they are profiting from this ways. You understand? So you have to change the parliament completely to get the correct votes completely, right? Justice. No minister should be receiving high salary. You want to be a minister, you have to be a minister. Okay, I give you everything, I'll cover all the expense, and you have no right to have other secondary properties out of the government that have to be confiscated. When I check up your salary, you have no other business. But I check your salary I get and corresponding to have this big property or this type of land. That where you get it from? Corruption,
Right.
right?
Correct. Correct.
That is very easy to do. You
Yes.
get it because you steal the people money to have your luxury. What a minister doing with a yacht? You know what is a yacht? No, I think I said a luxurious yacht.
Yeah, Parun, but we have a different structure. We don't. Our structure is different to Venezuela, so we can't go to that extreme. But we have something called the Integrity Commission, which I don't think the reports are properly filed, and then ministers acquire a certain amount of wealth while in government, and they need. This is what they really need to declare how they acquire that. What I mean. Some of these guys are private business, so there's a different structure. So we can't go to that extreme. But what we want is a good delivery, in the services and from government, not the heartlessness we have seen that taking place. And then the Seafarers and them had X amount of recusals because their family, they give business and contracts to all their friends and families. This is what we're seeing here. So they would have to put legislation in place, but we can't go to that extreme at the same time because of our legal structure.
But it is needed, it's necessary.
Well, we have to improve on the legislation, and then the problem is the police is not doing what they're supposed to do because they are politically affiliated. We have a justice system that has to be restructured because it's politically dominated. You know what I mean? So it's a structure built out by the PNM to facilitate the PNM, and until we stay in government long enough to restructure this, that's the only way we'll fix it.
Yeah, but in the meantime, there are certain fraudulent activities which you can verify that they took place. Example, same thing what I'm saying. The lease arrangement. Who authorized it? You're the head of an accounting department and you authorize that? Then that should be, grounds for instant dismissal because that's fraud. That is fraud. So they have to get the activities streamlined to bring all these people who sign these contracts into, upon review, hey, give them a chance to explain. And upon review, terminate all of them with all benefits seized, nothing. All if you have assets and so on, you hold these assets unless they can properly account for them. Because I'll tell you, on the last UNC or the People Partnership Government, the permanent secretaries and the other heads of department and the technical officers and all of them, they were making sure that none of the partnership projects were completed. Very few, very, very few of them were completed. They gave them such a hard time. All these permanent secretaries gave the ministers such a hard time that, they stalled the process in some instances. Stall meaning you got no approval for this project, no approval for your other project. So where it was allowed to continue, they instead of it taking 1 and 2 years, it took 4th and 5th year. So this was deliberate. Now, here is it, the same permanent secretaries, on the other hand, how come they were approving things without knowing who is the landlord, who is the tenant, what period of time this rental or this lease agreement covers? Was it 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, month to month, 6 months? Nobody knows. Some illegal contracts were going on for more than 3, 4, 5 years still. So how come on one hand you're preaching to the law to the partnership ministers, but on the PNM, you turn the other way, the other cheek, and you let things go as it's going. Anything the PNM ministers wanted, everything is approved. So,
Well, we saw, we saw a lot of approvals of things that wasn't properly accounted for. I mean,
yes,
it wasn't, I would say, cabinet approved in the sense that like that. We saw things where I guess the ministers just give authorization without, legal approval because there's no proper documentation with everything there. A lot of money, billions of dollars.
and a lot of it happened in the month of April. And the March,
Yeah, well,
beginning of April.
yeah, we still have to clarify that. So
Well,
Ken will come sometime next week to kind of help us clarify some of that.
the Prime Minister said it yesterday
Welcome, Nadira.
that contracts were still being awarded in the month of April, especially CPEP contracts, up to the Friday before the election. Up to the Friday before the election. So that would have been on the 25th of April. Contracts were being given.
I've seen a man in the Port Authority. Port Authority say he not resigning.
Yeah, yeah,
Chairman.
yeah. That is not the Port Authority. That is the Civil Aviation Board.
Civil Aviation Board. Okay,
Yeah, the
but it's
Civil.
part of the Port Authority structure, isn't that belonging to that? I don't know. I have to clarify that information. But that's you know. So go ahead, Dr. Parum.
Well, they make all the contracts according to them. That's the authorization. Everything was, how you say, approved to their benefit.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
The Prime Minister said they were running it like they their own mama papa shop. Is basically what she's saying.
Right? So when they make everything to their benefit, they have to have approval because of their benefit only. Now, if it was for the people of Trinidad and Tobago, they have no approval.
Yeah,
That's simple.
they didn't operate. In fact, she called them out on that. They operate like it was their personal money.
Yeah, they acted like if they were the owners of the wealth of Trinidad.
It's crazy, man. I mean, the level of bold-facedness. And then they had the audacity to come in the parliament, yesterday to talk like they have concern about children, when they are the ones that caused children to die, denying him the access for proper funding, not making any attempt, just had people suffering. I mean, we had too many people die on their watch in the health structure. I mean, what they call cesarean. We had X amount of cesarean deaths. We had baby deaths. Too many people. We had too many other people died of unnecessarily curable, treatable things. I mean, you're a medical doctor. A lot of treatable things could have been resolved that are dead today and are no longer with us. So these people have killed a lot of our people directly and indirectly.
How they took opportunity with the funeral homes who are there were some owners in COVID. And the disaster what went on to the Port of Spain General Hospital with a lot of infants, newborn baby died. Nothing come out of that
Well, we in
because of
government now, so,
negligence.
so that ain't over yet. That we in government now, we gonna deal with that.
You have to deal with that very fast.
I know, like we lost Dr. Parum there. So mind is still there? Oh, let's see here. Hold on a second. So, folks, we've seen some massive flooding in TNT, but not as bad as it would have been if we didn't do those massive cleanup jobs with our new government there. And they are very on the job, addressing the issues as we see taking place. I'm trying to get some more of the footage of the flooding there, so please stand by for a minute. seeing on the roadway during this week with the flooding issues. I mean, the flood is going to bring all kind of reptiles out of their normal habitat. So these are the kinds of things that we've seen happening. Mr. Singh, are you still there? Okay, folks, with that, we will say good night and we'll see you tomorrow night. Thank you very much for joining us. Are you there, Mr. Singh? I thought we
Yeah, I'm
lost
here.
you.
No, no, I'm here, man.
Oh, okay, so we're back with Mr. Singh here. All right. So can you continue for a little bit? I'm trying to find some files here.
Okay. So the issue still is the question of accountability across all ministries, from local government to Ministry of Finance to the Auditor General's report, where they can't find the missing billions, and with the issue with the central bank. Well, the Prime Minister said, and gave the authority to the Minister of Finance to proceed with finding out who got the foreign exchange, the forex question. So I think that question might be solved by the 16th when the media review comes up. Again, the central bank governor is hiding below or under the shield that the Auditor General has no authority to investigate the accounts of the central bank.
Well, we saw the Prime Minister clarify that, right?
Yes, she did clarify that yesterday. And she gave Minister Tanku the go ahead to get the information. So I strongly believe by the 16th, when the media review comes around, we might be getting a lot more information as to exactly where the money went.
Well, under the
Man,
PNL, we used to see the fraud squad storming people, businesses, and offices with big guns and demanding and opening up everything and breaking down. So,
doors, yeah, breaking
so
down doors.
yeah, and putting people under heavy, stress and duress. So I don't see why we can't storm the central bank now with the police.
Yes, well, the Minister of Finance has the go ahead. So
Yeah. So
that,
I don't
that's,
see no reason why we can't take the fraud squad there. Now, where's the fraud squad? They disappear. So we're gonna have to unleash the fraud squad on them to go there and get all the files.
and just confirm, is the airports authority guy, as I told you, he don't want to resign.
Yeah, he's one of them. They want to show his Herculean country.
So this is going to have some serious ramification, and I really hope that these people are brought to bear and the law takes its hold on them, so that all the decisions they make post-election becomes null and void, and the employment post the 28th becomes null and void. So they should receive no salary.
Yeah,
They
and
should
I want the
receive
money
no
back. I
salary.
want the money back. I want the unaccounted money back. We have to seize their assets.
And get back all the monies on the false pretenses, on the mismanagement, on the falsity. All these things have to be returned. So it's interesting times, but interesting times with punishment. And I like to see that. I'm sure the majority of the people who voted in this election will like to see that as well. As if we do not see these things, Gary, then we voted in vain. We voted for change, you know. We
Well,
voted.
listen, we know the Prime Minister has all intentions, and it's just a matter of time before she gathers that information and she does what she has to do.
Yes, put them till in jail. Make examples of all of the people who have breached these regulations, these specific accounting regulations. That's one thing with accounting. The rules are clearly laid out, you know. So if they breach their duties one time, two times, three times, and how many times thereafter, you know, one or two times, yes, you can give them a reprimand on that. But after that, it becomes a habit, and the country has suffered tremendously because of that in a negative way. So, you know, I will definitely like to see that let the chips fall where they have to fall, my friend. But whoever has to be punished, you know, let them be punished for breaching their civic duty. So with that in mind, I didn't see anything much about the flooding, but they say that they're expecting at least a couple days more of light rainfall. So did you see anything more startling with respect to flooding at all? If you have anyone has any posting on that, you could just send it to the team, please, so that we can make our own judgment. Yes. In addition, we're looking forward to all the reports of damages into the flood-prone areas. We have not really seen anything that to say that the floods were that bad and the water did not subside in a shorter space of time. So that's good news. At least some of the mitigation efforts are paying off, but a lot still needs to be done. You know, a lot more dredging and cleanups and clearing of waterways, because it just couldn't do all of it over the next 2 weeks or in the past 2 weeks. So in the upcoming months, these things have to be continued, and hopefully the long-term solution we can find that by the end of the year, so that next year during the dry season they can fully implement in a nice strategic way to ensure this flooding be something of the past. I don't know, you can never be 100%, you know, with flooding. It's just impossible. But if you can mitigate it 70 to 80 to 90%, you would have done a great job. So let's shoot for that. Let's hope that that is the case with respect to the flooding. Gary, were you able to get more information about the current flooding situation? I guess Gary not there. Or any other topics that we need to cover that we did not cover?
I think you hear me now, Mr. Singh?
Yes, I'm hearing you, Gary.
Somehow I got muted. I didn't know what was going on. I have some files. It's just I can't upload it in where I'm at right now because I'm
Okay.
on the move here a little bit. I had some files earlier. I was trying. I
Yeah,
had,
but,
but I'll do
but
it tomorrow night. Tomorrow night.
I was asking, were you able to see any extent of more flooding around the
Well, I
place?
mean, the whole Cavendish Central area there was flooded. What they call it, Las Lomas, Madras Road. I mean, maybe at least it looked like at least 2 to 3 feet of water some places. So I mean, some cars were submerged. They're looking for a missing driver in one area there. So there's a lot of stuff out there. That's happening. But I don't know about. It looked like the rain is up this evening. But I
Yeah,
mean,
because
the flood is going to come. Um,
after the rain is subsided,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
come
We
to
still have water coming from uphill. So
correct.
right. So these are
It's
the kind of things. So if you could carry on a little bit, I'm just kind of organizing myself here with some things.
all right. With more current issues at stake, the, the we see where the chairman of the airports authority has no intentions to resign. Um, most of the board members of the various state boards have done so. Just the central bank governor, as well as the airports authority, remain the two most pressing ones that has not done the rightful thing and resigned at this point in time. The Anglo board has resigned, from my knowledge, so at least that one has cleared up. And I think there was one in Point Lisa's that's still outstanding again. So hopefully, as time drags on, let's see that these chairmen and directors do the rightful thing and resign their positions. Now, as the Prime Minister said, those who did their work diligently and so on stand a chance to be rehired, and quite rightly so. So if you were a good director, and you fulfill your promises in a decent way, you at least you stand a chance.
I played 9. I'll need the key for 9. I'll see you at 10.
So that that's okay as far as she is concerned. But for those who have been found wanting and were following the policies of the previous government, how can you be re-employed and expect to follow or implement the policies of this government? So there will be a problem of implementation and your ability to do so, given that you have now been charged with a whole new strategic objectives in mind. So how can you fulfill these things when your loyalty and your position was all politically motivated and appointments were made on that basis? So you will not or cannot expect a P&M director to be able to implement a UNC policy. That just does not happen. So hopefully this situation with boards, directors, and chairmen will sort itself out pretty soon, and some semblance of normalcy will return so that the present government can complete the appointments on boards and be able to implement its strategic plan as outlined in the manifesto. So that takes care of the board issues and the state corporations. Other than that, I don't think there's anything more that
We can close up.
we need to cover here because we have touched on basically all aspects
Yeah,
of what was
yeah,
just discussed.
yeah. So I think we're pretty good. So I would say good night, everybody, and thank you for taking the time to join us. I mean, the government did an excellent job in the parliament
Yes, yes, yes.
and put things in right perspective. I think the prime minister set everybody straight. Our ministers, I was very impressed with
The
Clyde.
guy from Labre, the guy from
Yeah, Clyde
Labre.
Elder. He really made a good delivery there. And also, I forgot to mention, a commissioner of police was decided upon where
Yeah,
they approved the police service commission, and it was a smooth process. So that I want to say, is done with, and we should be moving forward. Now, the thing is how he managed the police force in setting up the supervision, and that we don't go back into what we are at this stage where there has been so much issues within the police force, and damaging the reputation of the service. I mean, in the force, and they are broken the trust of the citizenry, where they cannot get the collaboration. There has been so many incidents of evidence being destroyed within the police. Custody, and we also this we saw when the judge rejected this one of the officers in the SWAT there, who where the witnesses died under his watch. So he lost the case on that. I forget the gentleman's name at this point. But Frank C. Prasad rejected his his position on things there where he filed, so I mean that will be is something to see. Well, I mean this is unacceptable where a high profile witness dies under your watch. He falls off a chair and die. I mean, come on. you know
only in sweet TNT, Gary, that these things happen.
and we had too many incidents of kidnapping, extortion, and police involved with criminals. So I mean, it's not a small thing; it's a big thing.
It is. He has his work cut out for him, but one of the things he realized during the parliamentary session when this commissioner was issue was brought up was little or no contribution from the opposition. They did not.
Well, yeah, listen, I have some concerns, I have some concerns because on the choice of the person, but we will see. I don't know nothing of it, but I will discuss that with you. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how he handles the job, and see how the improvement takes place. The Homeland Security Minister said that they bought 67 new police cars. There has to be accountability in how we utilize these equipment. I mean, I know the roads are bad like hell. They're lake-sized potholes. So, I mean, these are things you'll have to fix in order to keep these vehicles running, much better than they
Yes.
have been. But, people cannot just uh, damage the government vehicle because it is government vehicle, and not have no accountability. We have in the security field we have a checklist, where you have to do a vehicle checklist, and you walk the vehicle and you make all the points where it's crash and damages. So there has to be accountability for everyone exchanging the vehicle. What
Correct.
condition you get it, and the other one has to sign off on it. So if you damage the vehicle, you have to take responsibility for that.
Yes.
And I mean, I've seen, some people, even here in the US, some people act like blue lights make the road safe for them. And you've seen a lot of officers die in the process. So having a badge and some blue lights doesn't make the road safe for you, and doesn't give you the right to act so lawlessly at the same time and recklessly. So there has to be, a lot of improvement in how we go about policing, how we go about supervising and policing the police force.
Correct.
There's a lot of things has to be done. We have a long way to go, but we are hoping for the best.
All right, Gary. With that, I think all issues are covered. I'll take my leave now, and we'll catch
Yeah.
up again later
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Good night, everybody. Thank you for taking the time.
Take care. Bye.
So, Trinidad and Tobago, people have finally gotten a prime minister that they trust and love, and I will say good night and see you tomorrow night.